has a critical point been reached for a pole shift? Unusual military movements in US and Canada while Schumann residences have gone wild? From the morning of June 17, 2023, the entire conspiracy world is in some kind of anxiety, which began the fact that the North Magnetic Pole reached a critical deviation of 40 degrees, and now the poles can change at any moment. For several years, the host and owner of Maverick Star Reloaded has provided the public with dramatic information about the real position of the North Magnetic Pole. Being somewhat obsessed with the idea of the pole shift, this dude uses his savings to build a magnetometer station on his ranch based on early 20th century models, which was not very expensive and did not require any satellites and other fabulous equipment. The main topic of his channel is the migration of the North Magnetic Pole, which according to calculations will have to deviate from its position in the last century by 40 degrees, after which there will be an abrupt change in the planet's polarity, according to what he claims. According to initial calculations, the pole was supposed to pass the 40-degree mark April 2023, but it slowed down slightly in the winter of 2023, and according to new estimates should have reached the desired point by mid-June. Now, the North Magnetic Pole deviated from its position at the beginning of the last century by 40 degrees, which many geologists consider a critical point, which upon reaching a change of poles can happen at any time. And then it suddenly turned out at the same time at the geographic South Pole above the US Polar Station. A green laser beam appeared in the sky and large numbers of military armored cars drove across America and Canada, and this laser beam looks more like some great scientific experiment for which there was even mention in the press. The appearance of a laser at the South Pole was completely unexpected, and the installation of equipment was carried out in great secrecy. Conspiracy theories are strained by something else. Why did the LiDAR, the light detection and ranging, begin its work day after day in the North Magnetic Pole, reaching its critical position? Moreover, the installation of the LiDAR at the station began just at the moment when it became more or less clear when the North Magnetic Pole would reach a critical point. It looks like US geophysicists are monitoring the beginning of the pole shift. Now, the atmosphere, its upper layers, which are in contact with the solar wind, will be the first to react to the anomaly of magnetic activity in the core of the planet. If something changes sharply in the core, the compass may not immediately see it, but the Earth's magnetic shield will drop sharply. Many charged particles will appear in the upper layers of the atmosphere, and the LiDAR will not only notice them but also carefully calculate them, giving out any forecasts. The US geophysicists will be able to give their government time to maneuver. Another version of the inclusion of the LiDAR is based purely on Nibiru. So, in the new complex of Amundsen Scott South Pole Station was opened in January 2008, despite the fact that Antarctica is not Florida. There's nothing to detect there, and there aren't quite enough old stations. But for some reason, they built a hefty new one, bringing in a 10-meter radio telescope, a remotely controlled infrared one that also places it in a nearby ridge. The first video from Nibiru, which circled the net in 2009, was supposedly filmed there. Therefore, this LiDAR and Nibiru may be somehow connected. Scientists monitor either its approach or the impact on the atmosphere of the Nibiru shell, which surrounds the planet like a cloud and consists primarily of gold particles, the extraction of which involved the Anunnaki in prehistoric times, as Sumerian legend told us. Unusual military and in the US and Canada. One of the indirect signs of the approaching certain alarming global events is a massive movement of forces and serious countries of forces and means. Usually everyone follows the movements in the US and China from where information is always extremely limited, but it still breaks through if there's a lot of troops. And now, as vigilant American locals report, armored vehicles drove along local railways. Since February 2022, when Russia invaded Ukraine, The movement of armored cars on US railways has always been a good prognostic sign, but there's definitely something different here since a lot of iron is seen in cities and it goes under its own power. So since the US and Europe are now conducting exercises, one would assume that this is all somehow connected with them. However, the same thing happens in Canada, although Canada does not take part in these exercises. So why is such a deployment? Even the Pentagon may not know for sure. There is a theory that this is preparation for a pole shift or another cataclysm. There's also a version of preparations for global war. However, in any case, given how much money military spends on such maneuvers, something is definitely coming that is worth this money. Schumann residents have gone wild, and now on the evening of June 18, it turns out some strange things happened there concerning the Schumann resonances. The graphically display of the Schumann waves shows no data for June 17-18 for some unknown reason. That is either an incredible breakdown of two sources happen at once or something with resonances that NASA decided not to show to countries and people. And finally, there is such a moment as the Great Planetary Alignment began June 17. Saturn, Neptune, Jupiter, Mercury, Uranus lined up. So in the light of the above, we do not think that there is some kind of instrumental failure with Schumann resonance. Something globally is either already happening or is about to happen. And this is on Soul Ask. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. Support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.